Hey skiers, it's Bob with SkiEssentials.com. Welcome to our 2026 ski test. We've got a Liberty Scope 94 for you today. This is now year 2 of Liberty's kind of revamping of their entire model line. So Scope basically took over for where Origin left off as an all-mountain / freeride twin tip for a variety of skiers, not too demanding, pretty light, pretty mobile, but not overpowering really in any sense of the term. Really focused on fun and playfulness and kind of had a smooth and quiet feel about them. Those characteristics carry forward into the Scope 94, but they almost take that lightweight energy to the next level. They changed up the construction. We're now built with a full poplar wood core here, and then we get a phenolic plate underfoot. So phenol is just a stiffer plastic, and they just lay that horizontally in the underfoot zone, just giving you a little bit more purchase and power in the middle of the ski while leaving the ends nice and light and flexible, and just extremely playful for either freestyle skiers or just creative freeride skiers. In the mid-90s, it's a really nice shape to have because you can kind of go back and forth between on and off trail with relative ease. They work fantastic in the bumps and the trees. You know, the flex is almost too much to make it, an effective mogul ski because it's not as supportive in the tail as something that's a little bit stiffer. But if you're a creative skier and if you don't like the feeling of a ski really pushing back on your tails, especially in the bumps or the trees, something like a Scope 94 will work extremely well. This is the 186, and we're on the scale here at 1,700 grams. So yeah, pretty light, and then it is fairly flexible. The flex is interesting because it's almost has a more flexible tail than tip, and it just feels like there's quite a difference between the flex in the tail and then in the front. What that does on snow is it really allows you to manipulate the turn shape and style, whether you're just making normal turns or whether you're being more creative and more individualistic with your turn styles. So it's pretty interesting how they go about that. Certainly a nod to that freestyle influence, as is this center mount line. There is a recommended line probably about 5 centimeters behind that, which is where I tested, or actually own a pair of Scope 94s, on that recommended line. And it almost seems like it's too far forward, but you really can't get too close to the flex of this tail just because it is quite robust in that amount of flexibility back there. Shape-wise, it is an all-mountain twin, I would say. There is, if you're looking for a competition park ski, there are things with more, kind of more splay and more traditional looking slope style capabilities. But this more freeride oriented twin has longer rocker with lower splay. Also kind of has, more of a sharp taper shape to it, and that's going to allow it to cut through loose and broken snow with an easier time. And then that kind of continues into the tail as well. Pretty symmetrical rocker profile, and then same kind of low splay in the back. I think if you are, really focusing on terrain park, then you're going to be looking for something that has maybe a little bit more of a turned up tail. But again, preference is paramount when it comes to ski selection. The measurements here, 128, 94, 118, and that in this 186 creates a 20 meter turn radius. If you're kind of opening it up and letting it run at 20 meters or longer, you're going to feel somewhat of a lack of support from the construction of the ski. It certainly likes to be used at more moderate speeds, and I found that it works better in shorter swing turns. I think anytime you really try to push it aggressively, you'll start to feel the tail of the ski start to tell you that, it's had enough. But if you stay balanced and centered on the ski, it's just an absolute blast. We do have some tester feedback here. Noah Novotny calls it a super light ski. Works great on groomers, but I don't think it'll excel at much more. Intermediate skiers will like its light weight. yeah, I do think that there's a big intermediate component here, someone who is kind of starting off on a freestyle ski journey, and they could certainly use this thing in softer snow, bumps, trees as well. But mostly it's that intermediate to advanced range that is kind of mixing between park and all mountain, but more off trail all mountain. You know, it's fun on the groomers. You can make some turns, but again, if you're looking for supreme stability and power, there's better options out there. This is a really fun ski, but it's probably not going to win any carving or power contests anytime soon. But I love it. I think it's an awesome bump and tree ski. You know, for here in Vermont, there's a ton of the stuff that we do. So it's highly useful for someone like me, even though I'm bigger and a little bit more aggressive. But yeah, that's it. That's the Liberty Scope 94. Make sure to check this thing out here at SkiEssentials.com, and we'll see you out there on the hill. Bye.